Looking at the review for Unit 1, number 44. G of x equals x squared plus 1, and then you got to find the stuff below it. So A would be g of negative 1, which equals the square root of negative 1 squared plus 1, 1 plus 1, square root 2. B would be g of 3, so that's 3 squared plus 1, 9 plus 1, square root of 10. B, or C, sorry. G of 3x, and that equals the square root of 3x squared plus 1 equals 9x squared plus 1. Okay. Can't simplify that any further. And then D is g of x plus 2 square root x plus 2 squared plus 1. This needs to be FOILed out or distributed out, so x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus 1, and then we're looking at x squared plus 4x plus 5. Okay. 45 gives us h of negative 2. So I got to look at the domains and make sure I plug into the right function. So negative 2 would be the top function, because that's when x is less than negative 1. So 2 times negative 2 plus 1, negative 4 plus 1, negative 3. And then h of negative 1, that would also be the top function, because that's less than or equal to negative 1. Negative 2 plus 1, negative 1. Then h of 0. So that's when x is greater than negative 1, so that would be the second, or the bottom function. Okay, and then h of 2 when x is greater than negative 1, so that would be the bottom function also. Number 47, find the domain. Okay. So I get x minus 1 over x plus 2. Alright? And so when it comes to a fraction, remember your denominator can't be 0. So that can't happen. So x cannot be negative 2. So I need to answer this interval notation. So I basically got to say all the numbers except negative 2. So that's from negative infinity to negative 2, excluding both of those, and from negative 2 to positive infinity. Um, 49. F of x equals 25 minus x squared. So looking at this is a square root or a radical, so I cannot be negative. Okay? So basically this has to stay positive. This one's always tricky. So if this x squared is larger than 25, it's going to be negative, and it's going to be undefined. So what I have to do is keep it less than 25 or less. Well, the thing you got to remember is if I plug in a 5 squared, that's 25. If I plug in a negative 5, that's also 25. So this is the one where basically I got to pick numbers between -5 and 5. Okay, those are the only ones that I'm allowed to use, -5 and 5. I can use 4, 0, 1, -1. So basically my domain, okay, is from -5 to 5. I can use any of those numbers. Number 54. So they want me to find the quotient of f of x plus h minus f of x. So we're looking at so we're going to say, all right, so I'm going to find f of x plus h. And that's simply when I plug in that in for the x values. Okay. So if I work this out, it's x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 3hx minus 3h plus 5. Okay, it looks like none of those combine. And then that's f of x. Okay. So on the next page, so I have some room here. So the function they want us to work out is f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. We figured those out. Just kind of going back here. There's f of, I'm going to plug that in for the f of x plus h. I'm going to plug this in, being careful for the negative sign, and then just simplify. So this part right here is the same as this. This is where we need to be careful. Then it's minus f of x and it's minus f of x, which is x squared minus 3x plus 5 all over h. Okay. Alright. And so I'm looking at distributing that out as x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 3x 3h plus 5 minus x squared plus 3x minus 5 all over h. Now a lot of this should simplify. So the x squareds cross off, the 3x crosses off, okay, and the 5s cross off. So it should be, everything should have an h in it. So I'm looking at 2x h squared minus 3h all over h. Okay. And then I can divide everything by h. And there's my answer.